Fast Food Dizzy or Quick Snacks Dizzy was definitely an arcade game.
What era was this? Was this kind of 90s?
Oh, I remember playing Fast Food Dizzy while watching Rocky 4. That helps you narrow it down a bit. On TV, so it could have been any time between 88 and 96.
Interesting.
Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 135 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that's all about the hypotheticals. I'm your host as always, Mr. Lava Lava, and with me is my co-host.
Welcome back, Lava. It's good to see you pulling your weight this week. I'm quite happy to take the back seat, to be quite honest, but it's good to see you. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be here. But we're not alone this week, Tomahawk. Cardinals.
We are not.
I think Cardinal's gone. I don't know where he is. He's not responding to text messages or phone calls anymore. I think he's out.
He's down tools at the minute. That's what he is. I mean, it's off season. He's earned a break.
But we're not alone. With us, of course, is Marty Neal, owner of the Retroroom Arcade. That is in. I'm going to have to say the official name, aren't we? Here.
You are.
Cityside Centre in Belfast, formerly. The Yorkgate.
Well, we know it. You know it. Everyone listening at home knows it.
Yeah, for sure. It's on the York. It's on the York Road, if that helps. Yeah, and it has some gates as well. You know,
it does. The layout of it hasn't changed in about 20 years.
God, no, definitely not. No, the decor hasn't changed in 20 years either. But it works for us, though. You know, it's vintage. It works for us. You know,
that's it. Yeah. That is it. Do you want to tell everyone at home who may not be aware what the Retroroom Arcade actually is, Marty?
The Retroroom is Belfast's first permanent arcade premise. So it's an 80s and 90s inspired retro arcade that's kind of trying to really hark back to the spirit of the old arcades that I hung about in when I was a kid. Minus the cigarette smoking hooch, hopefully, you know. So but really going for that authentic 80s arcade feel, and I kind of feel like we've achieved that to a large degree. We've got other things like Guitar Hero, kind of spoiling the vibe if you're looking for an 80s setup, and some consoles and things. But yeah, you know, it's largely me being nearly 50 and wanting to hang about in arcades again, and hoping a lot of people wanted to do that at the same time, which has turned out to be the case. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Brilliant
I mean, one of the saddest things about video game culture is arcades going away, like traditional arcades going away. I used to love going to the arcades and spending afternoons upon afternoons. And gaming lost something with it, with actual physical arcades. I remember going down to arcades locally here, and just knowing that if you got beat in Mortal Kombat 2, there was 12 other 50p sitting on top, and you're going to wait. You're having to wait, but it was so good. Good, and the whole community behind it and stuff like that. I know we have online gaming and all now. Online gaming is not the same when you have to look your opponent dead in the eyes and say, "Good game, mate."
Exactly. You can't disconnect in an arcade situation.
It was less about the games to some degree. You know, I mean, the games were great and they were the attraction for sure. But at the same time, it was kind of less about, and especially in Belfast, you know, there's been things that have kind of traversed the divide, if you like, over the years. Music being one, you know, arcades were definitely one of them. You know, because you really had to go to a city centre to go to a decent one. And you know, for me, that was a very kind of interesting adventure when I was a kid. You know, and I mean, the games were important. Don't get me wrong. Like if you lost on Street Fighter, you weren't happy for a day. You know, but at the same time, it was somewhere for everybody to meet. And I kind of wonder. I mean, I see kids coming into the retro room, and I see kids on dates, especially coming into the retro room, and you're kind of like, that's
class. It's all sort of coming full circle now.
That should never have gone away. We lost something when we lost that.
Yeah,
you know,
society's third places. They don't exist anymore.
No, and I do remember the transition in the consoles. You know, and I do remember the arcades disappearing. You know, and we all lost somewhere to go.
Yeah,
but we are seeing like a big resurgence in this particularly if you're like listening, you're from like mainland England. Like kind of NQ64 is the big one,
huge.
I think, at the minute, and they've got like 7 or 8 different premises open, and they constantly seem to be. It is a copy and paste sort of model on
I
them as
think it's
well.
like 16, 17 now.
Oh,
I think
seriously? Oh, wow. It's actually like they're
huge
spreading
chain.
now.
Yeah, huge chain. And arcade clubs up to 3. So they have Bury,
Brilliant.
Leeds, and Blackpool.
But this is the laugh, though, as well. It's one of those situations, like you sort of said it yourself there, Marty. It's people who have like loved this arcade, grown up with this arcade, and then seen it kind of fall away. And now these are people now with, I want to say more money than sense, but just kind of want to like relive those glory days, but kind of in the on the other side of it now.
Well, we're all just teenagers with adult income,
Exactly.
right? You know,
That's
that's
and
the
the
thing.
laugh is like you guys are talking about like playing Street Fighter and whatnot like that. I'm very much, my arcade experience sort of starts in like the early 2000s, so I've kind of am
Oh,
like
wow.
getting into like I don't want to say modern arcades, but my picks will definitely reflect and carbon date me.
Well, it's interesting. So the two guys that I started base with, Stephen and Dave, are a bit younger than me. So I was discovering games through them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Games that I didn't really know at all. You know, which would have been more kind of that era. You know, because I would have left the arcades by 1993, 94.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been really going to the arcades as much. You know, I'm 16, 17 at that point. Also had a kid. It puts a pin in your arcade
They
ability.
do tend to eat into your gaming time.
And your 10p's as well, it turns
Definitely.
out, you know. So, yeah, I was an early beginner there. But yeah, it definitely, there's eras for sure.
Oh,
I suspect
yeah.
we'll see some different eras
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There are. Sega's a really good company to use to date arcades, I think. They were the big drivers of the technology at the time. But before we get into the conversation of today, which is, of course, we are going to be picking, well, I have 4 here, but we'll pick, say, round it down to 3.
I have 4.
Three.
I have 4. I have
4 as well?
I have a wild card.
I have 5, but I have. I'm gonna have to whittle this. I think whittle it to 3.
Well,
3 is
whittle it to
always a
3.
lovely metric. Yeah.
I
Okay, if you let me tell you about the wild card, I'll be happy enough. And I'll whittle the rest to 3. Right,
we'll give the honourable mentions at the end, I think, is a good one. Because I have, there was 2 games, I was like, which one? I'll put both in. And I was like, 4's a lot. But what we're going to be doing tonight, the conversation tonight, is we're going to pick 3 arcade machines that we would put into our theoretical home arcade. What if we could only pick 3 games to put in that arcade? What 3 games would they be, and why would they be those games? Before we get into that, whether it's your 135th time of listening to us, or your first 135, that's a crazy number, by the way, or your first time, we're going to have to do some housekeeping. So if it's your 135th time, skip forward 2 minutes and it'll be done. If it's your first time, you have no permission to skip forward. You must listen to every second of this podcast and get that average listening time up. But who are we and what do we do? We are High Scores, High Stakes. We are the internet's only competitive PlayStation podcast where myself, Tomahawk, and our third host, Cardinal Smith, compete against one another in PlayStation gaming challenges. We pick a new game every week and compete in a challenge in that game. At the end of our 12-week seasons, whoever is top of the league wins the coveted, modelled by Tomahawk, High Scores, High Stakes Cup. It's beautiful. Once the season ends, we go into our side quest, where this is part of the side quest where we talk all things PlayStation, all things gaming. And the last Monday of every month is where we do our Game of the Month deep dive reviews. And that is the end of housekeeping, gentlemen. So Tomahawk, you know what's coming up next, mate? This is the part of the podcast where I ask you, what are you playing?
This is also the part of the podcast I forgot you were going to ask me, because
like, oh,
obviously,
nothing.
What have I been playing? I don't know.
like games,
I've still been playing Dead by Daylight. I mean, we did our Game of the Month last week, 2 weeks ago now, sure, and I can't stop playing Dead by Daylight. I think it's just brilliant, and I am wading through the controversy of picking the Xenomorph and constantly getting barraged on all of our social medias going, but the Xenomorph is a D tier killer. I'm like, I don't care. She's phenomenal. She's beautiful, and we are not to say a bad thing about her.
The perfect organism, some would say.
Most people at the Wayland Yutani company would agree with you as well. But yeah, most of my downtime has been solo and killer on Dead by Daylight at the minute. It's just something I am not able to put down at the minute. It's like pushing Phasmo out of my most played at the minute.
Oh, wow.
That's the way we're going.
Wow. Fair enough.
I yield the rest of my time.
Fair enough. Marty, I'm going to put you in the spot. You been playing anything you want to talk about?
I have, and I'll show my age once again. I have fallen down a Blood rabbit hole once again. I don't know if you guys remember Blood, first-person shooter. Oh, you've got to. It's absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like a horrific Duke Nukem in a way. And there's a newer version called Blood Fresh Supply. So I got myself a Steam Deck not that very long ago.
Yep.
Mostly for Halloween in the arcade, because I could bore you senseless with my sitting here this time last week. I'm sitting here nearly in tears trying to install Windows XP Service Pack 4. Enough said. Right?
Good Lord.
to get games to work on old PCs, right? And then thankfully I discovered a Steam Deck can run all these games and went, thank fuck for that, because I'm losing my mind here. I'm genuinely losing my mind here. So yeah, Blood, a hilarious game, just brilliant design, like really kind of creepy in parts, even though it's super 8-bit. So yeah, I've been playing Blood Fresh Supply and just fallen happily down into an old rabbit hole.
I've just done a little Google search on it there, and the UI is just, it is Doom. Like,
it's very much.
Is so much Doom. I'm going to slap up a screenshot just on the edit here as well, but it is Doom. And
I think it may even be the Doom engine. Actually, I think it might be that engine,
But can you run it on a PDF file? That's going to be the big question.
Probably. What you can't run it on is Windows XP Service Pack 3. I can tell you that for sure. Fucking hell.
Who would play games on a PC, who would play games on a PC? I have also
the garbage behind me. The garbage behind me is unreal. Yeah,
I have also been playing a lot of games on Steam Deck. So I have all my gaming time. In fact, this last week, because it's midterm, so all the kids have been home. So all my gaming time has been stolen moments in between.
You're stealing minutes to play. That's right.
So I've been playing 3 things, and I'm not going to go too deep into them because there's reviews coming for each of them all. So I have been playing Yucca Replayly, which was certainly an experience. I don't want to go too deep in it. I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would, and I don't like that type of game. That's all I'm going to say right now. I liked it. And I've been playing a game called, I don't know how to pronounce this, Catanot or Catanot. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is a game that I can talk about now because I think the NDA ran out on Monday, which was the 3rd.
Oh, okay.
So this game is from a single person developer called Void Maw, and the best way I can describe this game is it is a roguelite Metroidvania set in space with ninjas.
It looks so good. It looks like Katana
always have ninjas. Yeah,
incredible looking as well. This is another one we're gonna I think just needs a shout out. They sent us a key for it. Love has been playing it to bits, and the guys on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it now, they've been brilliant and so responsive, and just it's brilliant to see someone so passionate, like one-man team making this game, and it is phenomenal looking, and Love has done nothing but sing its praises.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's well worth it. It's on offer at the time of recording. It's on offer. I think the offer runs out on Monday, which is day of release. So check out Steam. If it's still on offer, I hugely recommend it.
Full price. It looks so good.
Full review is coming, even if it's full price bad. Yeah, to be fair. I know the developers been making some changes due to some consumer feedback that may or may not have been constructive. I know he's made the first boss way harder, but it's really good. I really like it. And then the last game is also, by day of release, the NDA has lapsed. It's called Service with a Shotgun.
Okay.
This one is a blend of genres. It is a visual novel, half
tower defense
shooter, I think is the best way to describe it. where
You got me writing this one down here.
you
Yeah.
run a zombie survival store in the aftermath of a zombie outbreak, and you basically have to balance keeping zombies out of the shop with serving your customers, and that's
Oh,
what I'm going to
excellent.
say.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
It's
Yeah.
another game I really like.
Well,
It's
if
another
I can
one.
have I didn't know if I could have more than one, but if I can slip another one under the radar,
Yeah.
So and it was worth the hellish PC install in the end. It's called Terrordrome,
This
and
sounds familiar to me.
it's a beat 'em up. Well, it's a Street Fighter esque, Mortal Kombat esque, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
got all the horror icons, so it's fan made. It's absolutely amazing. We had an amazing time with it in the arcade, like really brilliant. And if you're gonna play it, Pumpkinhead versus Chucky is the funniest thing you'll ever see in a game. Because Pumpkinhead's about 60 feet tall and Chucky's about 6 inches tall, and it's just
Incredible.
it's a brilliant game. Brilliant. Now you're hell to get it to work, but well worth it. And if
It
you want to
looks
know how to get it to work with the
incredible.
Xbox 360 Street Fighter sticks, I'm probably the only
Let's
guy on the
go.
earth who's ever attempted this.
Someone somewhere's going, what are they doing to the API of that thing? There's always one. There's always one bill.
It's totally incredible.
This is one of them Jurassic Park quotes where it's like you people were so concerned about whether or not you could, you never thought of whether you should. Like,
should or not. Yeah, totally, man. Totally, absolutely.
We've all been there.
I know. We talk about like these Avenger crossover events of like, why not? Why not a horror icon beat 'em up game?
I remember.
I might have the world's most bizarre divorce. Divorce because of Terrordrome and Windows XP Service Pack 4. All right. Can't even argue. Yeah, on you go. Can't even argue. Yeah,
Deserved. Love to have the house.
Exactly.
Not the arcade games.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have my Windows XP Service Pack 4 PC. It's too.
Oh, you can. No, you can. Absolutely. That's my evil revenge. You can have that thing for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I think there is no better time to go into the topic of the week, gentlemen, which is 3 arcade cabinets that we would choose for our theoretical home arcades. So let's take a wee music break here and we'll get into that. And that's us. I'm going to be your gracious host, Marty. I'm going to let you have the floor for your currently empty home arcade. What is the first arcade cabinet you're going to put into that arcade and why?
I'm going to start with my old Nemesis R-Type.
Okay. What a game.
Which I think I first played. I'm going to say 1987. And it was in a taxi place called J Cabs on the Woodville Road. And they only ever had 2 games in the place the whole time. There was one arcade cabinet in the reception of this really very dodgy taxi place. And it had Terra Cresta, great game at one point. And then it had R-Type. It was the only place that I know of in Belfast that had R-Type. And I used to go and play it like for hours and hours and hours on my own in a taxi place with people just going, what's this fucking kid doing here?
Where's this kid going?
Just like, I'm in the zone, man. I'm like, I don't care what's happening around me here. Civil War, don't care. I'm in the zone here, So yeah, my R-Type, I have never seen beyond level 4. I've never looked on YouTube. I don't know what happens after level 4 of R-Type. I've got to the end of level 4 a number of times. I've nearly beaten it a number of times. I will not leave this earth until I complete R-Type. I will fucking sit here as a skeleton playing R-Type. That's happening. If they can Futurama my head, they're going to Futurama my head into a JAMA machine with R-Type on it. That's where we're heading.
Oh no, we're going full like lawnmower man here now. We're just going to integrate him into the
insert me into the game.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. If you're going to Tron me, I'm going into the Bido Empire.
Dear.
That's what's happening. So yeah, that's my first. And if you ever have to come and visit me away from home, so to speak, in flat 13 as we used to call it, it's because I've finally got R-Type in the house and actually attempted this crazy. I've never met anyone that's ever completed it either.
I've never seen the end of R-Type. Never. it just gets harder and harder. That first level's hard because if memory serves me right, the first level boss is like a weird prawn looking, like looks like a prawn xenomorph hybrid. I remember having nightmares with that one when I played it on the Mega Drive. I want to say it was, but I've never seen the end of it.
With its big orb in its chest. There's a really interesting book. One of the people that comes regularly to the arcades, a girl called Alexandria. We had a chat the other night, Halloween night, actually, when I was playing Blood and being fallen down this rabbit hole when it was meant to be working. There's a great book called It's Behind You, which is written by the dev who managed to take R-Type and put it on the ZX Spectrum. I mean, this guy needs a statue, right? And they just dropped the thing off in his office and gave him, I think it was something like 3 weeks to put R-Type on the ZX Spectrum. And the conversion it's jaw-droppingly good. Yeah. And the book's amazing. It gives you a great appreciation of the level that these guys, the level of commitment for one. He was going psychotic by the end of the book. Like you're talking about that boss fucking with your head. This guy was saying it, like literally saying it as he walked down the street. He was starting to go psychotic, but he actually managed to do it through lack of sleep and all sorts. A great book. And if you ever hear a software developer moan about software development, It's Behind You, pal. Go read that. Go read that. Tell me that your job's hard.
I love it. So there's so many stories like that of back in the day, like the bedroom coder scene. I think the ET game on the Atari 2600. I think Atari give the designer of that game like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
6 weeks to make a game, and that's why that game was so
no spec whatsoever. Like nothing.
No,
you know
what's the movie about? I've not seen the movie. Oh, it's about an alien. It's about an alien. It crashed on Earth.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. That's what he looks like. That's what Spielberg.
But you have a whole 8K to do this, and don't worry, you've got a whole 8K. You know,
I mean, it's not going to crash the video games industry in North America. Don't worry.
That's insane. That's genuinely it.
We'll make more copies of the game than Atari 2600s that exist in the planet. It's all good.
I did make back in the day on the ZX. I did make a few games, and I've had the horrific out of memory. You've made a thing, and you're going, I can make games. You know, isn't this amazing? And then I think it's 4 out of memory, and there's just no way back.
That's it. Your game's gone.
That's it. Your game's gone.
I love bring it back. Bring back the bedroom coder days. That's what I say. Hello, bedroom coder.
There's the only reason we made this podcast is so you can plug these obscure messages, love, isn't it?
They're still out there.
I know they are still out there. Like, I'm well aware. They just get called solo developers now.
Just indie devs. Yeah.
There's still guys making Dizzy games and all sorts of stuff for the Spectrums. Like, you know, this is all happening. I kind of discover more and more. I haven't been in gaming for a while. I had a large break as such before I started doing arcade stuff and was in software world. And it's kind of interesting coming back and catching up on the kind of 20 years that you weren't that close. You weren't that close to gaming, really.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so good. It's so good. Right, Tom, what's your first one, mate?
I'm going to start off strong on my one now.
Dance Revolution 2004.
No. This is one I've owned on the PlayStation 2 equivalent. I had the G-Con with it as well. I have the top 7 score on NQ64 in Manchester North Quarter, which I'm aware that they reset them every day, but I have it on that specific day. I broke over 1 million points on it on the PlayStation 2 version. It's, of course, Time Crisis 2.
Oh, okay.
Just phenomenal. Okay. It's one of my favorite shooters. I think it's one of those ones that has stood the test of time in terms of like a co-op railgun shooter. Every arcade I go to in this day and age, even like 2025 now, it's always there. And it's always there, still wedged next to Time Crisis 3, but people always seem to just prefer to go to Time Crisis 2. I think it's awesome. It's always just a fun... There was a point I was playing it too much on the PS2 version that you basically knew when, because it's all just beats. It's all just the generated moments in it, to the point I was just like, yep, dodge, shoot, dodge, secret guy. Obsessed with that game. It's one of those ones that'll never leave me. If I could dig out all of the accessories for my current PS2, I'd be playing that right now.
Yeah.
I know there's one for sale for
Don't tell me that.
50 quid
Don't tell me that.
Let's go.
in Belfast right now.
You're buying it,
Oh, I don't
Tom.
need to know that.
Get your card out.
Well, we nearly went to see it. So it's one of the ones that I lost in the divorce. So I got the Time Crisis 3, which it was a compromise. But yeah,
I prefer Time Crisis 3, to be honest.
I'm on the fence. It's one of those things for me. I'm not nostalgic for any gun game apart from Operation Wolf and Thunderbolt, because that's the ones that I had in the 80s, in the arcades.
Yeah.
So Time Crisis would have been beyond my era a wee bit as such, so I don't have the same feeling and nostalgia towards these that I would do. And we've got an Operation Thunderbolt that we're restoring at the minute. I do have this kind of weird memory of a soldier in Smithfield Market playing Operation Wolf with his real gun, sitting beside the thing back in the day. And we were all kids kind of going,
what is going on here?
Weird there, isn't it? You know what I mean? What's he doing there? Like, with his rifle actually sitting beside it while he was Uziing away. You're kind of like, hell, man, Jesus Christ, that's a bit insensitive in a way. It's
my enduring memory of Operation Wolf was the cabinet was really weird, because memory serves me right, the Uzi was like fixed in place.
Oh yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah. And Thunderbolt's the double Uzis. With the ridiculous kickback. I mean, it used to knock when we were kids. We were small. We had to stand on stools. It knocked you off the stool. The kickback, the recoil on it was insane. But yeah, no, Time Crisis 2. I mean, in base, for example, that was, we had a mega list of games, and that was top of the tree.
It's always one I always have as like an iconic arcade shooter as well. Like I think it's mainly because of, I always have I remember the player 1 was like a red gun, and then player 2 was the yellow gun, and it just stood out, and like the Time Crisis logo on it as well. I think we talked just slightly before record about how you want to make the cab stand out, and bloody hell, Time Crisis 2 does stand out.
Brilliant design. Yeah, I mean, that's the Namco stuff. There's a guy coming to see me about the Namco factory in Tipperary. So my partner in the retro room, Mosey, is from Tipperary, and the old Atari factory was there, and then Namco took it over. The Namco logo is still on it. So there's an academic writing a book about all of the arcade machines that were made in Ireland.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there was a hell of a lot of them. We have a Space Ace, for example, that still has the Ireland Atari badge on the back, and the Star Wars cockpit that we had in base had the Ireland badge on it as well.
That's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible.
It's mad, and the factory's still there. It's been empty ever since Namco left, I think, in the mid-90s.
Yeah, yeah. I think they pulled out of arcades sharp, especially worldwide. I know they stayed in Japan an awful lot longer, but they pulled out sharpish over here. I think the last Namco game I remember playing in the arcade was, ironically, Crisis Zone, which was like the machine gun spin-off to Time Crisis. It was good too. All those Time Crisis games. Can I just say, see, light gun games, early 2000s, Namco's were the king of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Point Blank. What a game series that is.
Amazing.
That is probably my favorite. So it is. But my first pick, I'm going down a slightly different route, gentlemen, because I'm not interested in the quality of the game. I am interested in how bloody cool the cabinet was.
Oh, you've got prosthetics in this pick. Okay.
I am going.
I feel as if most of my picks are pretty safe now.
Shallow stuff.
If anyone's getting a divorce because of a theoretical arcade, it is me, gentlemen, because none of these are cheap. My first pick is going to be Sega Top Skater.
I don't even know it.
So this was I think it was a Model 2.
Is it the one with the board?
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was, I think they called it their amusement cabinet. So it was the one that had like a big prop and then a huge speaker under the screen that blasted your face with sound. But yeah, Top Skater was like the best way I can describe it is Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, the arcade game, basically. But it was designed by the guy who directed Crazy Taxi.
I see it now. I'm just looking at the screenshots for it. And also the cap. I will give you points for that. The
cap's incredible.
Is it kind of a 720 degrees type big kind of ghetto blaster? type cab?
No, it's weird. So the cab is like a huge monitor on a stand, and then it has a
Like a guardrail with like
skateboard with
a
two handrails on either side, and the speaker is the height
Oh,
from the
yeah.
floor to the bottom of the monitor. And the skateboard
Okay.
was your only controller interface. You controlled everything through that skateboard, but it was awesome. It was
Someone's got to try and do a steampunk version of this, man. This is
it is a ridiculously basic game, to be fair to you. All it is you start at the top and you get your way to the bottom. But unlike arcade games, there is a time limit, but the time limit was purposefully generous because there's no way you can fail to reach the bottom of every course. And it was all about getting as many points as possible. But it was it was fun. It was fun. I think it got a sequel. I think it's a sequel, Sega's Tricks, I want to say, which put way more focus onto half pipes and stuff like that. It was way more style over substance. Both games had very little content. I think Top Skater had 2 tracks, intermediate and advanced, and that was it. 6 riders, all with the same tricks. But the cab was cool, and it had a fully licensed soundtrack. And it was the first time I remember going to the arcade and hearing real music from an arcade machine. But for the time, it looked incredible. It was Model 2, so just before Naomi board. So it was that really nice time for Sega. I think Virtua Fighter 2 was the first Model 2, and Daytona USA and stuff was all Model 2. Just a really fun game, but the cabinet looks awesome, and it was something you could not get at home until Tony Hawk Shred.
I'll tell you why I'm never getting one into the arcade. Right? Because if I've learned one thing, right, it's bizarre control mechanisms are the devil. Right? Stay the hell away from them. And not a month ago, someone handed me the handlebars of our Enduro Racer, for example.
Oh, no.
Oh, mate, yeah, he managed to pull the handlebars out of a 270-pound machine and move the machine at the same time. It's like, what else do you do when you're not taking steroids? You know, bloody hell. So yeah, I've definitely learned. If you, like me, are foolish enough that your midlife crisis sees you open an arcade, right? Avoid bizarre control mechanisms like the plague, right? So this skateboard, wonderful idea, great. Hope you get one. You'll never be playing it in the retro room.
You're never sharing it with your friends, is all he's saying.
I'm not fixing some skateboard, man. That's not how I go out. There's no way.
It's funny you should say that, because I found one pretty local for sale.
Oh, did you?
No.
You did not, did you really?
I did not.
All right.
No,
yeah.
they were.
I was just about to revise everything I said.
Okay, let's go. I remember our local arcade had, or I think it was called Tricks. I'm pretty sure the sequel was called Tricks, but 9 out of 10 times you went to the arcade to play it was broke, out of order.
That's
waiting on service. And
that was when they were 5 years old, probably. 3 years old. And now that they're 30 odd years old.
Yeah, I don't think Sega serviced them anymore.
No, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, and in free play, they'll just that's the free play is going to murder all these things.
Yeah,
if you're not careful. Some of these things just need to be in collectors' hands or museums.
Yeah. They're pieces, not playthings at this point.
Yeah, because free play is just a killer, man. It's just a killer, and the kids just jump all over them. It's not the kid's fault. It looks like you should be able to jump on that skateboard, right?
Yeah. I mean, can you not?
I mean, for round one pick, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised at the same time. I kind of there's a few other picks I had you pegged for there, but extreme sports downhill skiers vibe is right up your street, to be fair, so shouldn't come as much of a surprise.
It's a pretty cool game. It is a pretty cool game, and it's something you couldn't get at home at all. You're never getting that, so you're not. So that's the way I went with all mine. All mine are kind of like unique cabinets, I think is the best way to describe it.
If it was being extraordinarily pedantic, I'm going to tell you, you're not getting it through your front door. But
no, we don't got I have to take the wall out to get it, and it's huge.
Lola's going to have to put them all in the front garden and then build an extension around
them.
The cab.
Yeah. So he took out the front window of our house, Your Honor. That's why I'm to get a skateboard came in. Yeah.
Why didn't you say this before, Mom? Court adjourned. innocent man.
Exactly.
It was a top skater, was it? It was.
Exactly. He's not even here today, Your Honor. He's fixing his skateboard. Yeah, he's refused to show up. Yeah.
So that is round one done. I'm just making sure I have your games right. R-Type, Marty, Time Crisis 2, Tom,
Yep.
and Sega's Top Skater for me. So that brings us on to a wee quick break, and then we'll get into round two. All right, round two. Marty, balls in your court.
So I'm going for a Sega. You'll be glad to hear.
Yo.
Again, mid 80s. I am a aficionado and lover of Wonder Boy.
Okay.
And it pains me greatly how often I have to kill him in a free play arcade. So in a free play arcade, people start the game and wander off when they get bored, which is typically within about 10 seconds, it seems. And then the game just stands there, and poor old Wonder Boy. But my second pick, Wonder Boy, probably the game that gripped me and really drew me into arcades for the first time. But Wonder Boy Monsterland, the sequel.
Yep.
And again, similar to R-Type, I've never completed it. I have got as far as that fucking dragon, right?
Yeah.
But there's something you have to do, right, in order to beat the dragon.
Yep.
And again, I won't go on YouTube. I won't go on the internet. I won't try to work this out because I can't. I'll never forgive myself if I don't figure it out. And the strange thing about this game was it's kind of an RPG. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
It is. I really love Wonder Boy and Monsterland. That's great.
Well, in the arcades, or not all the time, but most of the time, you would have got a Japanese version.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you have no idea what the guys are saying. You're going into the wee huts and they're blah, 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 blah. And of course, when you were a kid, you didn't even recognize this as Japanese. So you were kind of like, what the hell's this about? So we figured out ways of like getting around and somehow intuitively figured out what this guy said to do with this sword. Somehow.
Yeah.
But the one bit we never figured out was what you have to do to beat the dragon. So the dragon at the end is either the Mecha Dragon, which is pretty cool, but is completely indestructible, or the other dragon. It's something to do with a ruby.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently, right?
Yeah, it's time to crack out the Duolingo.
Right, exactly. And then I gave up on it for a long time, but there was one place called Rick's Arcade that had Wonder Boy and Monsterland, the English version, and there was queues out the door. Out the door, and the toughest kids we knew would stand and play Wonder Boy and Monsterland for hours. And the most cutesy platformer you've ever seen.
Yeah,
and I think it's pitched perfectly in terms of how difficult it is and the learning curve of the game. It is really, really hard, but you just get that little bit more and that little bit more every time you play. And that's what I miss about modern games is that kind of just pitching that difficulty level.
The balance,
I do miss that. That's my second pick.
There was a really good remake of that about 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was by Way Forward, the guys who did the Shantae
the
games.
4 one? That's the kind of 4? I think, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it, and I guess I have to do Wonder Boy and Monsterland first before I progressed. I kind of don't feel like I've earned my Wonder Boy 4 until I figure out how to do Monsterland. But yeah, I mean, I just remember that game making me want to make games when I was a kid.
Yeah, yes.
When I was a kid, I would stand and watch people playing it. And think like I would love to make a game like this.
Yeah, it can't be that hard, right?
I have made a game. I did remake my favorite childhood game.
Brian Clough.
Brian Clough's Football Fortunes.
All right, I have a note of Brian Clough's Football Fortunes, and I couldn't remember what that meant because I wrote this when we were emailing back and forth. But that's at the end. You have to tell us this story.
I will. I hope it's sufficiently interesting that anyone makes it to the end. But yeah, it's an interesting tale, and it was genuinely my favorite game. when I was a kid. Like,
Can't
adored
wait.
it. Adored it for all sorts of reasons. Yeah.
Right, Tomahawk, what's your second pick, mate?
So I'd been going through like the recesses. As I say, my like arcade experience is like only really in the last 20 years or so. So
Yep.
I'm kind of having to remember my trips to Newcastle and go to Kent and kind of periodically remember what was there. And now I've had to do a lot of like remembering, then look at pictures of arcade cabs and then look at arcade screen grabs. I don't know if you're familiar with Aliens Armageddon.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one with the big guns?
Yeah,
So
the
the
big
big
kind of
assault
the big
rifle type
massive
guns.
assault rifles? Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a big
yeah.
Plasma
neon,
rifles.
big
Yeah.
neon red cab with the big alien xenomorph queen sort of over the top of it, and it's as much a movie tie-in as they come now. You know, it's always like the colonial marines are in places that they shouldn't be, and a wave of aliens. You just basically shooting aliens, xenomorph or eggs, face huggers, and then you fight off against the big bad queen across like a desolate cityscape and all the set pieces and environments. I just remember putting just so many pound coins and tokens into this and not really getting anywhere because I think that was the class of arcade games that were just throw
Brutal.
every enemy at you and every enemy does like visceral damage
Yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to them just being on the screen to be shot at. So one of those humbling experiences where you get on, you last about 30 seconds, then you're like, well, that was fun.
What a great cab, though.
But I think
Yes.
this one was more for the
Wow,
cab
like-
as opposed to the experience that I had, a game experience with it, because it's
design classic for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
that's it, and
Yeah.
it's such an iconic. You know, Alien, one of the most iconic. We talk about it all the time on the podcast as well. It has that infinite well of resource, and it doesn't have to be canonized within like the movies or anything like that. It can just be, here's what the stupid people were doing on another planet, and here's how the aliens have just spread their influence across the way. And yeah, it's an action shooter with no real plot to it, and it looks class.
yeah. Yes, it does. It looks great. It reminds me of like, what do you call like Operation Wolf, like an Operation Wolf type Unreal shooter rather than like House of the Dead or Time Crisis or Virtua Cop. It was just a frenetic, crazy. Hold your finger down on the trigger and use the plasma grenades every now and again. But what a game! It is fun but brutal. It reminded me of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the arcade
That
game.
was
in fact,
that was my like close second, because I feel as if they are just
the same game.
the same game, two different pins. And looking into this, Alien Armageddon at one point was also called Alien Covenant, and it had to change its name because of the movie Alien Covenant that then came out. So
I did not know that. Oh, it's a
there
better
we go.
game.
There's one
It's
thing
like
that
a
we've learned
strange
today.
thing. It's like a bizarre thing to call an arcade.
And then
Isn't it?
I could just imagine Ridley Scott then coming in and going, "You see that light gun shooter? That's
happy with
terrible. You can't call it that."
Not happy with it. Should we pull it off the shelves? No, just change the name.
I could just imagine him in his own arcade putting dollar coins in, and then next thing you know, he gets a game over, throws a wobbly, and then tries to sue them for saying like, "No, you can't use that title. That's it."
A bit of a sideline here, but I did read about a RoboCop 3 game
Okay.
that was made. So it was made in Japan, but the devs had watched RoboCop 2. Right.
Incredible. Yes.
Now, this is kind of a wee bit folklore, but yeah, so it was RoboCop 3 was an attempt to take the franchise down to a PG-15 and kind of make it more for kids, right? Or PG-12 as it was.
Yeah.
Which they did, of course, and it's crap.
With the TV show as well. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, which was a bit tough as well. Prime Directives or something,
Yeah.
not good. But of course, RoboCop 2 was a bit bonkers, right? Like the first one. So the devs watched RoboCop 2 and created this RoboCop 3 game where you're shooting kids and all sorts of stuff.
I think they missed the point.
by
Wondered by it was roundly rejected by.
It's like, we can't do this. We
Yeah,
can't.
so it never got released as a result. So there's some RoboCop 3 game where you shoot all drug dealers and kids everywhere and then fly away at the end or something.
Brilliant.
Just strange, probably.
It's like how you've remembered it in a lucid dream that isn't quite what the brief was.
Totally.
They've literally
Totally.
just watched the bit with the kid baseball team robbing the electronics store and went, "That's a game."
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do that. That looks great. That's a PG-12, surely.
Class.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
this is it,
That's a
like with the
real.
arcade, like these types of games as well, like when you have a tie-in, like it's gonna have that like big sell factor, to be honest, and people will queue up for it because it's tied to that universe as well.
Oh yeah. Totally.
If you have a movie and you want a game from it, and it's 1986 to 1994, get on the phone to Ocean, because Ocean will do a good job with it.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. The RoboCop Ocean game, incredible.
Oh,
What a
fantastic.
game! What a
Fantastic.
game!
Yeah,
What
absolutely
a
brilliant. Again, I'll shout out to the Spectrum conversion, which was fantastic as well.
I played a lot of it on the Amstrad back in the day. Yeah, the Amstrad version was really good too.
Yeah, this was the moment when Spectrum's leveled up. You know, I mean, look, I'm old enough to remember the early '80s Betamax versus VHS argument, which was roundly farcical. Who cared? You know, but everyone cared.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
you know. So you were a Betamax guy. I'm a Betamax guy. What? And then the Spectrum and Commodore wars. I mean, I had punch ups. We genuinely had punch ups.
we had an Amstrad, no one cared. Alan Sugar did.
You were one of them guys then.
Yeah, we were like,
Nobody quite knew what your affiliation was.
I bet his monitor's green. Was.
Yeah, and also you could do word processing and all in an Amstrad. That was highly suspect. You know, it's like, what are you using this for? Work? You're using this for work, are you? Is this what they're doing? Yeah. We play games on ours and we fight about it. You know,
that's incredible. That's incredible.
There was genuinely punch ups. I mean,
I don't know why the Commodore was clearly superior in every way.
I do remember a punch up over Bubble Bobble. Actually, like a real like
the Spectrum Bubble Bobble was better.
See, that's probably what was said.
It was better.
Yeah, so we went to Brian Ferguson's house to try to verify whether or not the Commodore 64 Bubble Bobble was better, right? And the dragons were squashed. I remember this now. You've reminded me. The dragons were squashed, and there was an argument about how squashed the dragons were, which ended in a punch up on the stairs.
If I remember correctly, the Commodore version of Bubble Bobble had a graphics bug as well. Of when you trapped the enemies in the bubble, they turned into like gibberish code.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So I had it on the Amstrad, and it was
all
right.
I was going to say it was great in the Amstrad.
Phil
had it.
Yeah, the music of the Amstrad was awesome. So,
yeah, the graphics were top notch in the Amstrad. Yeah. I mean, they were really, really good. Really good.
The Amstrad had the best Spy versus Spy as well.
And
the best version of Fantasy World Dizzy. Just saying.
I forgot Spy versus Spy.
I might have to give you that as well. Yeah, someone is messaging me daily about Fantastic Dizzy and whether or not I have it in an arcade cabinet, and I keep telling them that Dizzy was never an arcade.
Fast Food Dizzy was definitely in the arcade.
Was it?
Yeah, Fast Food Dizzy was definitely an arcade game.
Is that the one they mean then? Do they mean Fast Food Dizzy?
It could be, or Quick. It was called Quick Snacks Dizzy? It was one of the two. It was either Fast Food Dizzy or Quick Snacks Dizzy. It was definitely in an arcade, because I played it in an arcade. Now, whether or not it was a legitimate arcade or if it was something else,
like your Rent-A-Van
arcade
thing,
console thing, whatever.
I'm learning here. I never saw Dizzy in an arcade.
I'm pretty sure there was a traditional Dizzy as well, though. I'm almost certain.
I'm going to have to research this. I mean, they're quite insistent. They're coming down to play it, and I'm like, well, I don't think it exists. So, you know, and I don't want to disappoint them, really, but yeah, I'm going to have to research this.
It might do. I'm fairly certain either Fast Food Dizzy or Quick Snacks Dizzy was definitely an arcade game.
What era was this? Was this kind of 90s?
Oh, I remember playing Fast Food Dizzy while watching Rocky 4, if that helps you narrow it down a bit, on TV. So it could have been any time between 88 and 96.
Interesting. That's interesting, because I was a Dizzy fan. Like,
I loved Dizzy.
Fan. You know?
My older brother was a massive Dizzy fan. We had all of them on. I think we played Quick Snacks on the Mega Drive, I want to say. But
I
most of them
live
on
with
the
my
Amstrad.
depressed cousin at the time, who painted our bedroom black and listened to the Sisters of Mercy constantly, but was brilliant at Dizzy. So we forgive him all his
Incredible.
sins. But yeah, I don't remember. I actually don't even remember Dizzy on any other platform apart from the Spectrum.
Yeah, but we played it on the Amstrad, and there was
I knew there
definitely
was an Amstrad
and
version
a
for
Mega
sure.
Drive
Yeah.
one, but I can't remember what game it was in Mega Drive, but it was
Oh, I didn't even
good.
know that. And was
Yeah,
it the same guys that made it then? It was
Codemasters.
it
Yeah,
Codemasters?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Oliver
Ah.
Brothers. Is that what it was?
Oliver Brothers.
Oliver
Yeah, yeah.
Brothers.
Who are still doing it,
They are.
apparently.
There
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
Dizzy for the iOS in about
I
2016.
saw that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not gonna
Interesting.
lie. I genuinely haven't a clue what you're talking about.
It's the most
Dizzy's a wee egg.
British game of all time. It's an egg with boxing gloves. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
he's an egg with boxing gloves.
in
Yeah.
the near
Puzzle
3 years we've
platformers.
been doing this, there's never been a moment that I'm like, I have nothing to input here.
He wobbles about quite spectacularly because he's an egg.
Yeah.
He rolls well. He rolls very well.
Puzzle platformers,
The more
Tom.
you know.
A bygone era, mate. They don't make games like that anymore. So they don't.
No,
Right.
they don't. They don't.
Speaking of games they don't make anymore, let's get back on track with the arcade game cabinet.
Yeah.
Tomahawk, I've forgotten yours. Aliens Armageddon.
That's right,
Nice.
yes.
Nice
Okay,
choice.
so
Yeah.
this makes my next one a wee bit easier. My one is also a movie tie-in game, and it
Yes.
is from the mid 2010s. And it is a game I saw once in my life and had to play, so therefore it must go into my theoretical home arcade. And it is Star Wars Battle Pod.
Oh yes, yes. I played this at the Namco Museum in London.
I also played it over in England. It is the weirdest arcade cabinet I have ever seen in my life. Like a cockpit with a huge, like spherical screen that closes in behind you, and it is one of the most immersive games I have ever played. This dislodged my fourth game because my fourth game was originally Sega's Jurassic Park: The Lost World cabinet, specifically the set-in cabinet with the curtains. But then I remembered about Star Wars Battle Pod, and I was like, no, this game has to go into it. So I have, whilst trying to find the name for this thing, I was like, spherical Star Wars arcade cabinet, nothing was coming up. And I was like, this existed, or I've had a fevered dream.
No, it definitely did. I played it in the Namco Museum in London.
I found a YouTube video where a guy had bought a version of it, and I didn't know this version existed, but there is a flat screen version with a 45-inch LCD TV.
Yeah.
But they updated it when they released The Force Awakens.
Oh, wow.
And there is a Force Awakens mission in the flat screen version.
Nice.
But this game was exactly what you think about it. It was a traditional Star Wars arcade game. You take part in the Battle of Hoth, the Battle of Yavin, all that sort of good stuff. It's just a cockpit shooter where you
it's like a part simulator, part rail shooter.
Just real shooter. Just real shooter.
Kind of hyper modern version of the classic Star Wars
Atari
cockpit.
arcade.
Yeah. Bloody hard, by the way, from what I remember. Really difficult. Really difficult.
Hard. Even harder than was it Sega made Star Wars Trilogy? It finished off with that lightsaber fight against Darth Vader. Jeez.
I do remember that.
Yeah, almost impossible.
I was terrible at it too.
Yeah. I played that thing at the Namco, the Battle Pod at the Namco Museum. I actually remember thinking, I don't know how to play this. I can't actually figure out like how to get around.
Yeah.
So it was the X-Wing. I never got anywhere near past the X-Wing level, and it was kind of like, how do I actually get around? Because it just keep getting blown out of the sky.
That was it. Yeah, it was just relentless.
I think it was 20 quid in by the time I gave up. I really persevered.
Yeah, you're like, please let me experience some gameplay here, please. I think
we've gone the whole way to the Namco Museum mostly for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I played this Birmingham. I think it was, in Birmingham. I just saw it. I was like, that looks incredible.
I wonder, is there one in Arcade Club?
Surely.
That would be an interesting one for sure.
I know they were super expensive to buy because of the screen, because transporting them apparently was a real pain. But Unreal Engine 3 as well.
I think I saw one for sale for 10k, I actually think I saw one for sale, and it might have been in Italy. I have a vague recollection of this. I think it was a bit dusty. and there was a wee bit of a furor on UK VAC that somebody was selling the Battle Pod. But I think it was €10,000.
That's all right. Be worth it. I don't know how big the screen is, but the screen is huge.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. It just surrounded you completely, and the speaker under the seat, and the speaker on the
kind
back
of
of the headrest, and all this here. But it's incredible scenes.
I tell you, you're leading me. I mean, it's like we planned it. You're leading me so well into my third choice.
I love it.
According to a quick Google search, the screen was a 180-degree dome screen compiled of two 42-inch HD monitors.
So 84 inches.
84 inches. It's like
it's all encompassing.
Completely surround you. Just incredible scenes.
I think when you're doing something like that, though, it has to be like, if you're replicating these battles in Star Wars, you have to have this nearly full immersion, like pre-VR headsets kind of thing. Like,
I think by the end of the Sega Dreamcast, I think video game companies realized that they had to offer something in the arcade that you just couldn't get at home. Because I think Tekken 3 for me was like a watershed moment in, well, this is better than the arcade version. Why would I play the arcade version anymore? And then the Dreamcast came along, and you had Soul Calibur that was better than the arcade. Sega Rally 2 that had more content than the arcade version, but wasn't quite as good. But pretty much every Sega game on the Sega Dreamcast was the arcade game plus.
And then Street Fighter on the consoles, which was kind of, it was up there. Yeah.
So once 2000 rolled around, that's when you saw like peripheral arcade games. That's where you saw your Time Crisis, your Dance Dance Revolution. And I can believe this was 2014. 2014, Namco Bandai released an arcade machine, which is insanity to me. But they obviously jumped on was it Oculus Rift released around 2012 and went, can we beat VR?
I wonder, is it a kind of, you get it in the movie world where people have to make something or lose the license. I wonder was it something like that where they had to, if they didn't do this, they would lose a license. It's like Corman's Fantastic Four.
They just do it because they're contractually obliged to more than anything.
I can't think of any other Namco Star Wars games though, other than Darth Vader appearing in Soul Calibur 3 and Yoda.
Yeah,
apart from that,
I don't think there was. I mean, there hasn't actually been that many Star Wars games, if you think of it, really. Like, when you consider the size of the franchise.
Yeah. What is out there, pretty poor, apart from the arcade games, to be honest.
That's true. Yeah. Well, Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo.
I hate Super Star Wars.
Yeah.
I hate that game.
I kind of liked it. It was a bit interesting at the time, for sure. It was a leap forward console game.
Yes. Yeah. It was a massive jump forward.
I'm Googling Michael J. Fox for good reasons.
No. I think I know what this game's going to be.
Do you know what it is?
I think so, yeah. Let us take an wee music break and we'll come back for the final round. So just before we do that, Wonder Boy in Monster World? Monsterland. Aliens Armageddon. My one was Star Wars Battle Pod. And after this music break, we'll come back with the final pick. So make it a good one. I think this one's going to be a good one. Right, I can't wait anymore. Marty.
I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the name of the movie. Segueing perfectly from your Star Wars Battle Pod. My third pick is a thing called Starfire.
Okay, no, that's not what I was thinking.
Right.
What is this?
Starfire was rush released by a company called Exidy in the early 80s, right? It was rush released to beat the Star Wars cockpit to the market, right?
Right, yeah.
And they've made a game that blatantly uses TIE fighters, blatantly uses X-Wings, is basically just the Star Wars game.
The font is Star Wars as well.
It is. The whole thing, right? The cabinet, everything. And there's a cockpit version of it, which is huge, right? So we get a phone call about 8 months ago from a guy who says, I believe you're opening an arcade. This happens a lot. It's like, yeah, okay. He says, I've got this thing, I just want rid of it. I don't care what it is. And we're like, oh Christ, right? Early days of base, we'd have jumped at these sorts of things, but you learn, oh fuck no, this is going to be a horrendous project, right? And I said, does it say anything on it? And he went, yeah, it says Starfire. I'd never heard of it. I'm like, right. So I said to Mosey, and Mosey's like, Starfire? I'm like, yeah.
His eyes
And
lit
he's
up.
like, right, what does he want for it? Well, he didn't want anything for it. Okay, get it. Right. So this huge cockpit thing
Yeah.
lands in, right, that you can actually almost stand up in, right? And it's got this like rusty, like fucking control mech in it, yoke, right? And this kind of thruster thing, and it's all pretty much there, right? Which is insane. Now, research says there was less than 800 of these cockpits made.
Oh, wow.
Right? And we have one, and it has handmade art on the side as well, which is quite insane. But I'll keep talking while I Google the movie, right? So Starfire gets released ahead of the Star Wars cockpit, so they achieve their goal of getting it out into the world.
Yeah.
And then it appears in a movie with Michael J. Fox, of all people, right?
Okay.
The name of the movie escapes me, where Michael J. Fox in the movie is the world's best player on this game, and the game in the film is Starfire.
Wow.
And this is by like absolute chance. There's no way that actually negotiated this in any way or did anything, because really they kind of rush released this thing and then moved into making fairly obscure rip-offs of Space Invaders and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Michael J. Fox has been in an extraordinary amount of Michael Jackson films, by the way.
Midnight Madness.
Midnight Madness. There you go. You found it. Yeah. So Michael J. Fox plays Starfire in Midnight Madness and is the best in the world. And I've now gone and found the ROM and played it. It's actually really good.
It looks just like the Atari Star Wars game. Like it looks
exactly
the same.
In the Star Wars movies where they're looking at they're aiming at the X-wing or the X-fighters,
and it's target computer is the wireframe.
That's exactly what it looks like. Just looking at the HUD of the UI for it.
Yeah, it looks.
So they got sued. Obviously,
I'm not surprised. Even the cabinet design is really similar to Star Wars.
This is the point of controversy, right? The Exit game came first, right?
Bigger franchise wins every time.
But it was a year before the Star Wars cockpit. So there's a school of thought that says actually this
Star Wars stole it.
Well, not stole it, but kind of inspired by it for sure.
Atari wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, and you said about the rumbling speaker under the seat in the pod.
Underneath it, yeah.
That was in the Exit.
I remember there was a Star Wars. I can't remember if it was trilogy or if it was the original Atari one, but it was on almost like a, what do you call that airplane Sega game? The name totally escapes me. Afterburner. It was like an afterburner cabinet that went round and the screen went with you. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, the big kind of X360 fucking crazy thing is that the one they had to like constantly X-ray the joints in it?
Just make sure they weren't going to break and kill someone inside it.
Yeah, they had to constantly weld them. Yeah. And there's a whole mythology about one of those being in a field in Ireland for years as well. Class. Which I don't know how true that is.
It also wouldn't surprise me.
There's all these photos. If you go looking, there's all these photos. Is it called the R360 or something like that?
I don't know what the arcade machine was called, but it was there was a few games that used it. There was I think Afterburner Climax used it. So it did as well.
Yeah,
because
there's a few of these things, but there is photos of it. It might even be in Northern Ireland. There's photos of one of these things in a field.
Yeah, because there was an arcade in Newcastle used to have the Afterburner version of it for a very short period of time. Very short, because I'm sure it was blooming expensive to service. So it was.
So there you go. I've went
Starfire, a game I never heard of.
Short, obscure, and it's our little kind of pet project. As such, so we're going to go to town on this thing, and we're going to get it properly restored. So, to be honest, normally a restoration means as original as we can, and we'll do our best because we've limited time. This one is so rare; it's like we're going to do this right.
Yeah.
We're going to do as much as we possibly can to get this cockpit back to its original state as such, you know.
Incredible.
I mean, it is it's incredible that it
It is.
exists. It's incredible that it was in a barn in Northern Ireland somewhere, you know, and the guy, I mean, he just wanted someone to do something with it. He didn't know he
Wow.
had at all. I did tell him this is super rare. You know, if you want to sell this, you can probably, the yoke alone, you can probably sell this for, you know, quite serious money if someone's trying to restore this thing. And he went, don't care, lads, have fun, have at it. It's like,
Wow.
okay, great. You know,
Yeah, I just didn't
Thank
know
you
what he
very
had.
much.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that'll be a super, super rare coming to the retro room at some point. At some point in the distant
That's
future.
incredible.
TBA. Keep an eye on the
TBA.
socials.
Don't even think it'll fit through the fucking door, by the way. But anyway, we'll have to figure out how to get it into 2 parts. But yeah.
So Starfire. Tomahawk, what's your last one? Make it good.
So I have a couple
The pressure.
ones. I might keep one. I'm going to keep Ghost Squad to my honourable mentions. I
Oh,
think,
what a
actually.
game Ghost Squad is.
And I'm going to go kind of with the aesthetic of the way you've been going on yours, Lava. And there's something about the Paperboy arcade machine
With the handlebar.
bike, with the bike handles, and that's all it was. It was
Yeah.
go forward, go slow down, and there's something simple in that. And I played that probably longer than I should have in a night out at NQ64 as well, and just went, this is brilliant. I actually don't care that I'm not particularly good. You just spam the newspapers through the windows and stuff like that. But I think it's just that lovely. Like, they put the time and the effort to go, how are we going to make delivering papers that little bit more? How do you make that feel authentic? Let's put handlebars, just crankable handlebars on it. Then I think it's just I think that is like the OG one in my mind when I think about arcade like cabs and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna go full retro on that one and go Paperboy.
It was a great game too.
I remember playing it. I remember being frustrated at how hard it was. And I think, but I don't know. I think it was it's certainly one of the first games I remember that randomized.
Yeah, it did.
okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah,
predictable.
the addresses you had to deliver the papers to changed every
Well,
time.
even the wee obstacles, I think, aren't predictable.
Like the reversing car, the dog, that kind of stuff.
The ghost.
Wow, okay.
I don't think they're predictable. I think they appear in different places. I've certainly got a memory of that. I think I played it in a leisure centre somewhere. And I remember, like, you know, you couldn't learn it. I do remember this.
So,
It was kind of
RNG based, basically.
Reaction based.
That's class. That's really cool. Especially for the time it was released in, you'd think that that's just procedure for the game.
Totally.
Yeah,
But then,
that's
you know,
awesome.
this is one of the ones where your control mech has to work properly, right?
Exactly.
Like,
this is probably
really
what I
has
would
to
say.
work
This
properly.
is one that has to like. It is tough to replace, no doubt, as well. Because I could think you could just have someone easily just jerk it back, and the next thing you know, it's detached.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is what happened to Orange Euros, you know. Much to my I don't know how to say the word chagrin. What is it? Chagrin. Annoyance. Yeah.
Lovely. Paperboy. My enduring memory of Paperboy was the first time I ever got past the street, and then you hit the like this ramps and
highway
stuff at the end.
At the end.
Yeah. It was. I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen way back when, and it's so simple. But Paperboy, what a game!
I remember that you had to do something to actually move forward, or is that a false memory? What did you have to do to get going?
Oh, I think you just did you not?
I think it was
Was there a wee
just.
pedal?
There was
a
a
pedal or something.
Oh, I don't remember a pedal. I remember
pedal
the
at all.
handlebars were basically just forward, but it was like
You had to
as
push.
you pushed it forward, the faster you went, and as you pulled it.
Okay.
I think the slower you got, you could fall over if you basically you went onto a rolling start, and then you would like go fast, go slow, depending on your obstacles. But if you went too slow, you would fall over.
Off. Yeah.
And then the button was on
definitely
the
have
edge of the handlebar, and the button would launch the papers and stuff as well. So
I have a vague recollection of pedals that made him go quicker,
could you
but that might
imagine?
just be a false memory.
That could be incredible. Having
Most
to do like 4 different
yeah.
sets of things.
Most of my Paperboy memories come from the Mega Drive, to be honest. I do remember Paperboy 2, though. Now, this might be a false memory.
Yeah.
Paperboy 2 introduced a paper girl and I have a memory of the arcade machine having 2 sets of handlebars side by side, 2
I
screens,
think you're right.
and it was like a
Yeah,
competitive.
it's competitive,
Yeah,
Oh,
like a Time Crisis
yeah,
type cab. Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. I think
That,
I haven't seen it in the flesh.
no, I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
It might have been down Tremor, by back in the way, but it could also be a completely false memory. And it was a
No,
completely
I
different
think you're
game.
right. I do think there's a Paperboy too. I think you're right. I do think you're right. I think it's super obscure, for
Yeah,
sure.
but yeah, it's a
Yeah,
perennial British title, isn't
yeah.
it? Paperboy, like,
I mean, look, like shout out to all the ops back in the day, man. How did they keep these things going? These
I have
guys were
no idea.
geniuses. Like I see this all the time now. You're like, fuck me, man.
yeah.
If you were maintaining, 100 of these things, how the hell did you do it?
And you think, like,
Yeah,
when I think back to some of the arcades I used to go to back in the day, there was like hundreds,
yeah,
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cabinets. Because I remember there was one particular arcade I used to always go down when we went to Tremor, and there was like you walk in, and the first 4 cabinets you would see: Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and The Simpsons.
yeah,
And then from those 4 machines, it was just row after row after row after row of hundreds of arcade machines. And you're just thinking,
yeah,
one, the electricity cost would have been brutal,
yeah,
but
totally.
maintaining all that
Well,
is
I mean, the OG
frightening.
boards, you get a lot of guys that come in, and there was one guy in base who walked me around every machine, paid in, and walked me around every machine and went, "Is there a Raspberry Pi in that? Is there a Raspberry Pi in that? Is there a Raspberry?" And by the time he'd walked me around the entire place, there was probably 40 machines we had walked around, and we got back out to the front door, and I went, "Mate, what's a Raspberry Pi?" And he was furious. I kept a straight face. Like, what's a Raspberry Pi? And he was just like, "Oh, you people." And off he went, right? But you get guys who come in and they go, like, "Is this all original boards?" Well, they were never original boards. This is
Yeah.
the thing you realise, right? We're all bootlegs in the 80s.
Yeah.
So most of the boards that you'll buy now are games from the 80s, but they were all bootleg boards. We're all Chinese bootlegs.
Yeah.
Even in the 80s. So the idea of originality in arcades, like I have a Mexico 86, for example, 4-player, right? That entire machine is a rip-off of Kick and Run that they knocked out of a back door of a factory in Italy during the Mexico 86 World Cup. And all the boards, like I think I've seen a few hundred boards now, and I think I've seen maybe 5 original boards. And you're not even sure that they're original either. By the way, just
Yeah.
because they have a decal on them doesn't necessarily
Make
mean they
them
were original
original.
either.
Yeah.
So the idea of originality in arcades is a kind of myth to a large degree.
Yeah. Yeah. And ROM hacks were massive as
Yeah,
well. Because
they were.
I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was called. There was a Street Fighter 2 ROM hack, and there was a Chippy, and Antrim used to have it. I can't remember what it was called.
Was
But
it the Turbo Hack or something like that?
it was the one that Capcom did like a massive legal battle with the Chinese company that made this ROM hack, and then they took the code and made it into hyper fighting. They're like,
Okay.
"Oh,
Yeah, so they actually improved
this
it
is
in
really
a way.
fun."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was one of the designers was like, "Here, have you played that? Because
Yeah.
it's really fun." And they're like, "Okay, let's make hyper fighting."
Well, I'll fess up and say, like, we replaced the original board. I actually think you should.
Yeah.
I've come to the opinion
Yeah.
where I think you should. I think you should. Again, these things don't need to be in an arcade; they need to be in a museum,
Yeah.
or in the hands of collectors. And we switch them out for recall boxes because you can't maintain the original boards. They're going to go.
Mhm.
In a free play environment, especially where they're being played constantly, they're going to go eventually.
It's when, not if, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
absolutely 100% when, not if. It absolutely is, and you can almost feel it. You get to the point like we've an Invaders up there from 1978, the Zachariah Invaders, and the original board. And every time I switched it on, I went, "It's still working. It's still working. It's still working." And then, of course, a couple of weeks back, switched it on. Garbage on the display. It was like, "Oh, Mary, why did you not replace it out?" You have to. My opinion, and I know this is slightly. That's not controversial. It's only controversial among absolute purists. Get those boards out. Get them to the collectors that'll look after them.
Maintain
You know?
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Someone
the
with,
thing.
yeah.
They're never remaking them. You know, there won't be any, and you can't fix them. That's the other thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, the Star Wars cockpit when we're parting ways in base, and I was going my own way to do the retro room. I think it was shock horror that I didn't want the Star Wars cockpit. I didn't want the Star Wars cockpit because the Star Wars cockpit's a maintenance horror.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Vector
100%.
monitor, speech boards, you know, all this stuff. And there's no emulation version. There's a couple of kind of bits towards it, but there's no emulation version. And your vector monitors, your asteroids, your kind of Star Wars cockpit, all that sort of stuff, forget it. You're never finding a vector monitor.
No.
It's not even a money problem.
They don't make them anymore. It's a dead
just can't
technology.
find
Don't
them.
exist.
Has been for
Yeah.
30 odd years now. 40 years? Jeez,
Yeah, and there's a reason
Bro.
why, like, most of the arcades I remember were games stuffed into chip shop JAMA cabs, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, but easily swapped out. Just take
Yeah.
one out and put a new one in. Yeah, there was a chippy
Well, that's
right.
what's maintainable. Really, that's the reality. Do you know?
Yeah, there was a chippy right that way, and it
I'm
seemed to
loving
rotate between Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, and NBA Jam.
Yeah.
I'm loving my takeaway from today's episode after we do our final pick from Love It is that 90% of the ones you've talked about have not been in arcades. These have all been in like random like locations scattered across Northern Ireland. If it's not a chippy, it's a taxi office or
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
it is not in an arcade. This is the weird. This is just a wrinkle in my brain.
Oh,
right?
leisure centers, chippies. You know,
If it could be
shopping
plugged in
centres.
there, that's where they're going. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
understand that the why. I get, but
Yeah. Well, I got two Baz cabs through the week, and they've both got Craigavon Borough Council stickers on the back. So they've clearly been in leisure centres somewhere.
That's
You know, this is it. And I remember going to play Arkanoid in the Shankill Leisure Centre. That was the only reason. The only reason we went to the leisure centre was to play Arkanoid.
Love
You know?
it.
brilliant.
Yeah, they used to be everywhere. I remember they used to
they
be
were.
everywhere. You went to a Chinese, wait for a takeaway. There's a it's usually a Street Fighter 2. It was usually Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat 2. Is in my experience, that's what they were.
Someone quick, easy can
NBA Jam,
yeah.
Something to rob you of your money.
I remember far enough back that you had your Terra Crestas and your slap fights and all that sort of stuff. Your 1942 was really, 1943 was really, really, really popular.
Yeah.
You know, and it's probably just because they realised they're two player and you get double the money.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. And they're brutal. They're brutally
And they're brutal,
hard.
yeah. So you're getting double the money on these poor children, you know, who could barely afford a pair of Sizzlers. There's a retro trainer for you guys.
What
Sizzlers for a $5, you know.
retro candies, let's go.
They lasted about a week. But, you know, they genuinely did. One game of football and your Sizzlers exploded, you know. But, you were in spending your Sizzlers money in the arcade.
Unbelievable. Right. Lover,
My last pick.
take us home.
My last pick is another Star Wars game.
Ooh, okay.
And it is another Star Wars game it's from the early 2000s. And it was the best Star Wars movie tie-in. I am, of course, talking about The Phantom Menace. It is a Phantom Menace game, but I'm talking about, I think it was called Star Wars Arcade Racers.
Pod Racer.
And it was the pod racing game, yeah.
Yeah.
But the one I'm talking about was the one that had full-size pod cab. Where the two levers to steer. It was another Sega game. Oh, what a game it was! It was awesome. So it was.
Yeah.
And I think again it had very little content. This seemed to be the era where Sega were putting in games with very little content. I think it only had like 3 tracks. I know Tatooine was one. I distinctly remember a track that took place over water, and there was like a foresty level, and I think that was it.
Super well designed, though. That was
unbelievably
a triumph of design, that machine.
They've got a wealth of like detail in those 3 tracks, really. But I suppose when you're playing it, and if it's tied in, quote unquote, to like Phantom Menace, there isn't very many biomes or environments that you can draw on. It's either a city, a forest, or it's a desert, which is the Star Wars motif, I suppose.
Yeah, no ice world. The N64 version had an ice world. The N64 version is a good game too. Better on Dreamcast.
Do you know what? If you think of how much cash was spent on developing that cabinet,
unbelievable.
You know, I mean, how much then on the game? You know, you're talking. It's serious money.
Yeah. Even
serious
just the
money.
Transportation of those things around the planet. Because I know early 2000s, is that when Sammy and Sega merged.
Oh, I don't know. This is news to me.
I think it may have been.
Was this a Thomas Wave? Is this the guys that did a Thomas Wave and all that sort of stuff? The Sammy?
Yeah, they were a hardware company, I think, more than anything
doing
else.
The candies and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think they merged around about that time, and that's where it cut costs for Sega, and this is where all these big fancy pants cabinets came from. But the arcade racer was brilliant. I remember constantly, I think it was like £1.50 a credit on that bad boy as well. They used to have
it had to be. It had to be.
So.
15 quid a credit just to try and make the friggin' cost of the R&D back.
Remember there was the stand-up cab as well. It still had the 2 levers, but it wasn't the same. You had to sit in the big cab with like 32 speakers blasting Anakin Skywalker quotes in your face for 3 minutes or whatever it lasted.
This is pod racing. Over and over.
I mean, interestingly, guys, these things come up for sale, and the bigger the machine, in my experience thus far, now this isn't universally true, but it's kind of true in most cases, the bigger the machine, the less they cost. In so many ways.
Less people want to buy them.
Well, you can't fit them in your house.
You can't get them in.
You need
a hanger.
They genuinely can only go in certain places.
Yeah.
You need a big garage, or you need a big basement or something like that. And they come up a lot. And especially in the States, like if you see the arcade sales in the States, there's an awful lot of the stuff that pops up for surprisingly little money a lot of the time. I've seen that pod racer. I've seen certainly one side of it for like €600.
Wow.
That's nothing.
Okay.
Now that means it's a project, but
you're spending more time restoring it than playing it at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Which is true of most of them anyway. But yeah, I mean But yeah, it's good pick, man. Good pick.
Oh, yeah, great
Really
game.
good.
Great game.
Yeah.
Star Wars in the arcades for me. What a heritage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a load of pop ones, like, to be fair.
Someone used the Force.
No idea what that was. But anyway, on that note, I think what we should do is recap and then draw a line under tonight's episode.
Can I have my wee curveball?
Oh, your honourable mentions. Yes.
Yeah.
That is good.
We'll take a wee music break and we'll get the honourable mentions. Honourable mentions times, gentlemen. What do we want to shout out that didn't quite make our top 3?
So I have a mate, Dave Dunlap, who I adore, and he's had 2 massive heart attacks and he's still with us, so just hi Dave. But we had a hilarious night when I was talking about this way back when I was first talking about Base Arcade, and we should be trying to start an arcade, so not long after the pandemic. And he told me about Dog Walking Simulator.
Class. Okay. It sounds incredible.
Which is a Korean game. I managed to find videos of it. I had a Korean employee called Jayon as well, who I mentioned this to, and she went, "Oh yeah." Like the most normal thing in the world, right? So it's a game, right, where you walk a dog. The cabinet is a big, like, dog, big plastic dog,
right,
with a lead and collar, right,
right,
and you're on a treadmill.
Incredible!
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And the person modeling it on the Google image is I imagine some sort of Asian woman dressed as a poodle.
That doesn't seem that strange, given the context of this thing.
Not out of the ordinary at all.
And you can find the ROM, right? But the ROM is utterly unplayable without the treadmill. Without the treadmill, you can't move forward without the treadmill. So when we get beyond Starfire, God knows when that'll be in the future restoration. My holy grail restoration, I think, would be this thing. The only thing you actually seem to do in the game, as far as I can ascertain, is feed your dog and pick up its shit.
Unbelievable.
I mean, wow. Immersion sins. That's all I'm saying.
So it didn't quite make my list because you're never going to find one, I think, is the problem. No. But that's my curveball for you guys.
That is unbelievable.
Incredible.
If there was ever one just to go, what the hell moment.
That's it.
Yeah. My honourable mentions, I had a couple more well-known titles, we'll say. I went for House of the Dead 2
Yeah, what a game.
and
Best of the
Ghost
series.
Squad. Ghost Squad, I think for me was
Nice.
another one. I've played Ghost Squad in a number of arcades over the years, and I don't know whether or not like there's ways you can set like loadouts or like what you can actually have as like weapons throughout like your weapon cycles, but the one in Newcastle and Kent Amusements always it felt like it was jailbroke because you could pick every weapon,
Yep.
even the most imbalanced like loadouts, like for power, for fire rate, for that kind of stuff. And then other ones I played, it's like, no, you get the stock weapon and then you can unlock it as you progress through it. And I was like, nope, I'm going to play the one where I have everything available to me. And I think I always had just so much fun playing it. I think it was getting to the point where I could do the whole run through on one credit as well. It was just a great game.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a great
probably
game.
it's probably your difficulty dip switch. You know,
Yeah.
it probably is that. You know, how tight do you want to make it in terms of how far people can get?
Enjoyability. Yeah. I think the ones where you are like having to, it feels like a grind when you've only got your stock weapon and stock sort of grenades, whereas like the Kent Amusements one was very much like have everything. Have the best time of your life playing this game.
God mode. You got
Exactly.
God mode built in. Yeah.
God Squad.
Yeah, totally.
It's a
Yeah,
great game.
they were my honorable mentions. I think I have enough of them as mainly as shooters. I thought not quite there.
Yeah. My honorable mentions, I have two. The first one is going to be Wave Runner, which was a Namco arcade
that's a good
game where
shout,
it had a
actually.
big sit on jet ski, which was pretty cool. It was like a really dumbed down wave race. It was cool. It looked great. I remember it looked great. I remember seeing it for the first time. I think it was on Games Master. Famously, it was on Games Master.
Kind of think I saw this in Arcade Club. Big
Yeah,
yellow,
big yellow
Yeah,
jet
big
ski.
yellow.
Yeah. It's a good
Kinda
game.
think it did.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
But beyond that, Confidential Mission.
Ah,
Confidential
interesting.
Mission is a really fun shooter from Sega. That golden era of Naomi board. Brilliant game. The perfect evolution of Virtua Cop. The best
I
Virtua
played it
Cop.
on the Dreamcast.
Yes.
Yeah, with the
That's where I
Namco
played
guns.
most of it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant
no,
game.
it's good. It's great design. Actually, the kind of aesthetic of it was really class. Yeah.
I love the setup of it. The James Bond spy movie, Virtua Cop sort of systems with using the Dynamite Cop sort of quick time events. Pass it, you get the easier route. Fail it, you get the harder route. And it was just a really good game. It was just a really good game.
Yeah.
Not as good as House of the Dead 2, but a really fun like on game. And no one ever talks about Confidential Mission anymore. It's really shame.
Not one you see come up either, interestingly.
Nope.
Yeah, don't see these things, I mean, House of the Dead 2, everyone asks me, where do you get these things? And typically, if you're willing to pay for them, you can find them,
Yeah, exactly.
And especially House of the Dead 2, the more popular titles, really, you'll find them. And if you went to UK VAC tonight and said, I want to buy a House of the Dead 2, you'd find them, if you were willing to pay for it. But yeah, the Confidential Mission, I've never seen. I didn't actually know it was an arcade cab. I'd only ever seen it on the Dreamcast. Yeah,
it's a really good game. It's a really good game.
I liked it. I enjoyed that one as well on the Dreamcast for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Although there's a Dreamcast arcade. Actually, there is a Dreamcast arcade cabinet. There's an arcade cabinet that has a Dreamcast inside it. I discovered there was an arcade version of the Dreamcast.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's Crazy Taxi, and you're playing the Dreamcast version, but it's in an arcade cab. Yeah,
incredible.
It sounds incredible.
Sign Love Up 5.
Where can I get one of these?
Someone. It's kind of like a Naomi setup.
Yeah,
but they put a modified Dreamcast into it.
Incredible,
unbelievable. The more you know.
That's it. That is it. Right. That brings us to the end of the discussion, and that means all we need to do, and I'm noticing the time now, is the wrap up section where we can hear about Brian Clough's football fortunes.
Oh God, yes.
And we can also tell
as
everyone
it passes into midnight, as it passes into the witching hour, I bore you with my other midlife crisis. Yeah,
I have to hear it. I've written it in the notes, and it has to be. We'll have to hear it.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back after this musical break. And that's it, gentlemen. Another episode almost wrapped up. once we hear Marty's story about how he remade Brian Clough's Football Fortunes, first of all, I think you have to tell everyone what Brian Clough's Football Fortunes actually was.
So, yeah, in terms of pioneering games, Brian Clough's Football Fortunes was the first and almost the only mixed format computer game, board game, and computer game. Right. There was so Kevin Tom's Football Manager. I don't know if you guys remember it. It was pretty
No.
much the first football management sim on computers, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was supposed to be a board game, but he got so frustrated with trying to make a board game, he ended up making a computer game and made the first football management sim. Right,
as you do.
yeah. I'm sure he's happy he did it. But yeah, so Brian Clough's Football Fortunes was devised by a guy called David Hall, and released by a company called CDS Microsystems in 1987. And we got our hands on it because my mate's mum worked in Leisure World. And Leisure World was
wow, that's a blast from the past. I remember going to Leisure World every Christmas, and it was like magic.
Heaven on earth.
I have not heard that name in a long time. It just brought back, wow, remember that?
Yeah, Kitty Heaven on Earth. So Giles Hunter, who ran CDS Microsystems, he had run WH Smith for a while, and he had been the game buyer, WH Smith, and realised, okay, this is an industry to get into, and started CDS Microsystems and started making games. And mostly they made rip-offs of Pac-Man and all this sort of stuff, as most people did.
Yeah.
But then David Hall, who worked for him, went, I have this concept. I've drawn it in the back of wallpaper. It's a game called Football Fortunes. And it's a board game, a computer game. And he started kind of, making the prototype for this. So weirdly, because it was so big, because the box was so big, it couldn't fit in any of the shelving with the smaller computer games. The box had to fit the board game in, right? So it ended up in the book section, right? And cost far too much to make. It was like 15 quid to buy the game in 1986, 1987, right? Which is an insane amount for a game back then, right? That's like inflationary, I don't know, but it's probably as dear as GTA 6, the GTA 6 of its day, right? So it ends up in the book section, and then it gets picked up by Britannia, and Britannia was a record and book catalogue where you basically paid off. So you got these things and you paid them off over X amount of months because everybody was skint in the 80s, right? So Brian Clough's Football Fortunes became a huge success because it went into the Britannia catalogue. Anyway, long story short, my friend Brian Kirtner's mum works in Leisure World. She gets everything half price. She buys this game. And I am not kidding you. We spent years playing this thing because you could, 6 people could play it at once.
Right,
which was totally unique in home computing. And I think it's actually the only one. I've never seen another 6-player game on a ZX Spectrum or Commodore or anything like that, right? So as kids, right, I had a Spectrum, so you couldn't save the thing. I had a Spectrum plugged in and hidden in a drawer, right, in my grandfather's house for years, right? And if he turned it off, I wept like a fucking, like the world was coming to an end because we were on season 6, right? So, and they also, the other genius was that they made these little player cards. I might even have a few kicking around that were the actual real players. So it was totally immersive. Like you needed to get Ian Rush, right? You had to get Ian Rush, right? So anyway, fast forward to about 2017, and I have this notion in my head of I want to remake Brian Clough's Football Fortunes. Kind of getting nowhere with it, but then I come across this guy called Lee Skillen, who knows Nigel Clough, Brian Clough's son, who knows the guys who, kind of made the original game. And I found myself in Doncaster with David Hall and Giles Hunter, the original creators of the game.
Awesome.
David was gravely ill at the time. David had cancer and was gravely ill at the time and was having this kind of pioneering stem cell treatment. So I kind of felt a wind at my back that if I'm going to do this, I need to do this while David's still around because it's very much his baby and very much, the proudest thing that he'd made in his life. So yeah, I came up with a new concept for it, etc., 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 and kickstarted it in 2019 as Football Fortunes 2019, and we made it. David has made a full recovery. The stem cell treatment was
Brilliant.
hugely successful.
Wow.
He's now biking around France again and doing all sorts of stuff. But yeah, so I got to see kids play the game that we all played. Sold a couple of thousand copies, and actually that's what became Base Arcade. That then became the Retro Room
That's
as
awesome.
such. Because the money from that was the seed money that bought the arcade machines that kind of got things going effectively, along with Stephen Curry and Dave Hughes in Base's case.
Unbelievable.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah,
No, it
and
is,
you
it
know
really
what?
is.
It's funny, out of necessity, in the 80s, people find this hard to believe today, but even though we were genuinely in a kind of civil war situation in Northern Ireland, a quite dangerous place to be, and where I grew up at the top of the Shankill was particularly dangerous, the Ardoyne interface, we didn't spend any time in the house. You got kicked out.
Yeah.
You were told to sort off and go and do something else with your life. But Brian Clough's Football Fortunes was the thing that brought so many of us together, and every one of us is still friends to this day. And when I first got the remake, that's the first thing we did was play it at Christmas, like we did when we were kids, and it was fantastic. So there you go. That was my
That's
first
an
midlife
incredible
crisis.
story.
That's an incredible
I'm
story.
glad
That's-
I forced that on you. Like that weird all my does. I need to know. It's
To
a game I'd
wrap it up,
never heard of.
totally bizarrely wrap it up for you. Because of the way licensing was done in the 1980s, CDS Software Systems bought the perpetual worldwide rights to Brian Clough's image, right, in computer games, right, for basically a brown bag full of money at Wembley Stadium at the launch of the game, right, which I then acquired in 2019. So Football Fortunes Limited, the company, now owns the perpetual rights to Brian Clough's name and image in a football game.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie's licensing. Thankfully, I've never had to try to enforce this in any way because I'm sure it's a straw man legally entirely. But there you go. It's a talking point. It's a talking.
That is amazing.
That's a great story. That I will ask though, can you remake Dino Crisis as well? So lovers get this off lovers wish list.
Yeah, perhaps. I toy with the notion of I want to do a 90s version of Football Fortunes. I want to do a 90s edition.
Brilliant.
That'll happen at some point. I'll do a 90s edition of Football Fortunes. I've actually got the full design. It's been sitting there for a while. The pandemic put a pin in this. Everything went crazy. Manufacturing went crazy. Shipping went crazy. It probably would have had another version had the pandemic not happened. But I do kind of go, yeah, I'm going to do another. I'll do a 90s version. So there's a wee exclusive for you. I don't think I've told anybody else that.
George
Incredible
Graham's
stuff.
Football Fortunes. Can't wait.
Yeah. Stephen. Yeah, if it's Stephen Gerrard's Football Fortunes, I can die happy, but I still have to complete R type, so I can't die happy. So yeah,
Prioritize these things.
indeed.
First R type, then that.
Then Gerrard, yeah, then death. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's a retro room merch if I ever saw it.
Oh man, yeah. I can't die until I complete R type. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. Yeah.
You should also make an inflatable Brian Clough.
Inflatable Brian Clough. That drinks and slaps people on the way in.
No.
It's Leeds.
Do you know what I'm regretting? I'm now regretting so much not going on Halloween as Brian Clough. Why didn't I think of this?
Oh.
All I need is a bottle of whiskey and a green jumper, right? Yeah. Next year, I'm going on Halloween as Brian Clough for sure.
On that note, I think the time has come to wrap it up, Tomahawk. And that is just directing people to, if 1 hour ish content of High Scores High Stakes isn't enough to fill your week, don't forget you can go to highscoreshighstakes.com and there you'll find content to do you as long as you want, really, to be quite honest. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff there. So there are. If you're listening to this on Spotify, give us a 1 star to 5. Give it a 5. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell thing as well. That's what YouTubers say, right?
I think
And
so.
if you've done all those things and you still haven't shared this podcast with a family member or a friend, do that now. Hit the share button, send them a message. You're using your phone, or analytics tell us most of you are using your phones. You've no excuses, folks. And with all that being said, Tomahawk, I have nothing else to say except Marty. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been
Yes,
an
absolutely
absolute
fantastic.
blast. It's been
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic
eye-opening.
conversation today.
It has been eye-opening. Do you have any socials you want to get out to the world that you
Yeah, we're
want
we're
people
at
to go?
Belfast Arcade. Yeah, we're at Belfast Arcade on all the usual channels. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll put all your wee arts and links and stuff in our description of this episode as well. So make sure you check it out down below as well, folks. And with all that being said, then I have nothing else to say except I've been Mr. Lova. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on Monday. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.